Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's August 3rd. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And turns out we had a channel working up here. It looks like it's a two-tiered channel. Um, you didn't get a whole lot of entries off this trend line. Really, for the most part, I played it like a range until it looked like it was going to be a range between the overnight highs and lows until maybe right here. And then it really didn't matter because then you're just in a range across here. So somebody, I get a lot of questions about how do you trade a range, and the only way to trade a range is to get in like right here. This is a little tight range working across here, and the only way to trade this is to get in real close to the highs or real close to the lows, like this one right here. There's not a lot of those today, or a failed break out of it, like right here. This is pretty obvious resistance, and that's a failed break higher. I gave you one short right here on a little tiny failed break above that double top. Then it gave you another one right here. So those were good trades. This second entry was right into it, but we pushed on through and pulled back and gave you that failed second entry long here. There's another one right off the highs. At this point, I'm thinking we're probably going lower all the way back down to here. It didn't happen, but all we need is enough for our scalp, and that's why we scalp out. And then right in through here, there's just not a good entry. Until the only other way besides getting in close to the highs or the lows is to let it break below like this and either be a breakout pullback short or long. And since this would look like a range day and this was the highs and possible failed break, then you're looking for a play off the low right there. So I hope that makes sense on that, but I'm gonna back out and go through the trades. I'm doing this really late. It's almost 9 o'clock tonight. I had to leave today and I came back to do this, so I'm going to move through it pretty quickly and wrap it up and get it posted. But when I came in, this was the overnight high, this was the overnight lows. It looks like a range day. We were working off the lows back to the high side, so we're looking for longs. You get a second entry long right here. Notice the new high, it pulls back first entry, and even though it doesn't make a lower high here, those matching highs, that's just like a pullback, so that's really a second entry long. Quick, easy move, and then it turns down, and it goes right through. And notice how it gapped right over. It did come back and fill it, but it gaps right over. That's usually a good sign. You got your trend lines in the right place. Pulls back, and we're just waiting on the second entry, and that comes right down here. And this is the first break, so we're looking for a retest of the high. And hopefully it'll go all the way back up here and test the high. And this turns out to be a nice trade right here. Any runners would have been safe. And you ride that right up here to the top. And I would have looked to probably exit unless it pushes right on through. But when it starts finding resistance, that's where I would exit. And then it tries to go lower once, tries to go lower twice, and then tries to go lower a third time. You get that little failed break lower. This is just a little trading range. You got to be careful entering in there. The only way to enter is at the lows or the high, and you get a chance right here at the lows. Go long. You're looking for it to at least come here, and maybe it'll push through. But it only comes to here, it finds resistance, and then you get a chance to go short right at the highs. And where does it go? Right back to the lows of this little range. And you're hoping that it maybe goes all the way to the overnight lows, but it doesn't. So all you get out of it is a scalp. I didn't like going long here because it's right into those highs and you hadn't had any proof. You want to see it bounce off those highs a couple of times, and it did bounce once there, but notice when and it tried to here, but there's not any entry. You got a little trend line working down, and instead you get a failed second entry long and a reversal, and look at that bearish bar. Just go short right there. And this time you're hoping it goes all the way to the low again. Doesn't turn out that way. It pushes higher, but you can't go long until you get a good setup. And notice that it's just going sideways here. And this one is tempting. If this bar the high would have been down here, I'd have entered there. But it didn't. And there's nowhere to get in at the highs of this little range, nowhere to get in the lows. So you get a little push through. You get a failed breakout. It's tempting to go short right there, but you need to get a breakout pullback short. And it does. And look how bearish that bar is. It actually went out the top, turns, it goes right out the bottom. Just go short right there. And again, you're looking for it to come all the way down here, but it doesn't. It makes another higher low and bounces. And where does it go? It goes right back up to this high, And notice that little trend line working up. You get a break, move to a new high. Look how bearish that bar is. Go short right there. And it comes back. Bounces once, pulls back, it bounces again. It gives you a second entry long here, but again, and it would have worked, but again, I don't like it. It's not a very good signal bar. It's still below the support resistance line here. It's not holding above it. It pushes up. You get a first entry short, you get a second entry short, but again, it's just going sideways. So just kind of sit, and then all of a sudden you get a little trap right there. And it turns, look how bullish that is. Now I like going long. And again, it doesn't go very far. It just gives you a second entry long, or I mean a scalp out of that long there. And that was it for the day. Up here, actually I take that back. There was one more short. Notice it made a new high, pulls back, first entry, pulls back, second entry, and you can't go long right there. I mean, we're just kind of going sideways. Nothing's closing up here. Look at all those stems. That's telling you something. And this is a double test of that level. And you're getting a chance to go short right at that resistance area. And off it goes. And this turns out to be a really nice move. There's another entry right here you could have taken. It's so close to the end of the day. I didn't mark it, but it's there. Well, let me get my arrow there. I should have had it marked. But it's so close to the end of the day. But you can see that trend line there. But you probably wouldn't have had that trend line because that's the first two swings. So, but it doesn't matter. Notice it pulls back first entry, pulls back, it bounces right there and fails. And so when you get that trap, I'd go short there. I wouldn't have taken a trade long there, not with that trend line right there. But when it turns up and fails, I like going short right there because you've really been looking for it to come all the way back down here today. This is still, even though this is working up and has a slight upward bias, there's more shorts than anything because it just never really gives you a good long, at least on my chart. Now, but all these shorts are really nice shorts. So, and that was it for today. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 good trades today. Only one green one here. And the reason I made that one green is because it's just such a big bar. But I still like it. So, but it is green. And that was it for the day. But yeah, this has got an upward bias. But look how we're swinging to both back and forth over the EMA, below the EMA. When it does like that, that's a range day, and you can pretty much trade it both ways, even if you got an upward or a downward bias. So I don't know why my news item didn't clear today, but it didn't. We had a crude oil news at 9:30, but it didn't really affect anything. We got a little bounce and it came right back, but nothing really happening there. So. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. It's late, and there's probably some of you waiting on this, so I'm going to wrap it up and get this uploaded, and we'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap up our week. But this is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.